Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on the 2007 film Ratatouille. Now, as you know, Ratatouille is a 2007 computer animated comedy film that was written and directed by Brad Bird, who also did films like Mission Impossible Ghost Recall, The Iron Giant, Incredibles 1 and 2, and so on. Now, originally, the film was originally going to be directed and created by Jen Pendafer back in 2000 when development began in 2000 and eventually left the project, so Brad Bird eventually took over. Now, the premise of the film is meant to be about Remy, who is this young, gifted rat with a good sense of taste and smell, and wants to kind of follow his idol, Chef Gusteau, in becoming a famous chef. And of course, we see how an instant leads Remy and his family separated, and him sort of exploring Paris on his own. And eventually would end up meeting a sort of deadbeat loser known as Linguini. Now, Linguini's character is that he's a bit of a screw up. He's meant to sort of be this non-gifted chef, and there's more truths about him. And so eventually, after creating a successful meal, we see how Linguini is able to use Remy to help him go the distance and develop a close bond. Now, I would say the movie doesn't really have an actual villain, because some characters do things, I think, that are either questionable, or some of them you can tell do try to do the right things for the wrong reasons. Like when you have Chef Skinner, you can kind of tell he is trying to save the restaurant by sort of expending the territories with cheap meals, and sort of doing and also expending Gusteau's name with different brands. And I feel when you've got the sort of food critic ego, you can kind of tell he tries to be this stern but fair and sort of reasonable critic. Like, he wants to sort of put things to impossible standards, and does show signs that he does regret what happens to Gusteau's restaurant, because when he does seem to ask the questions, he does sound a little concerned. Like, you can kind of tell he does try to be stern and fair, but he does have a warmer side. So, of course, throughout the film, we see how Remy goes the distance, and we kind of see how, despite his father's misgivings, Remy does eventually show he has the skills. He does want to prove to people that he has what it takes. And I also feel when you kind of got the female chef, Charlotte, I feel her character does feel a bit enforced, like to make her a bit of a love interest for Linguini. I feel you could have had it that she's starting out and trying to be an expert chef, and could have had this older sister relationship. I just feel the two characters don't have anything in common. And I would say, surprising enough to me, the film has two messages. Like, the first one is about trying to perfect the perfect meal, trying to serve it to someone who may be harsh on it, and trying to help show the world that you can make this amazing meal. And I think the point of Ego's character is that I would say, with Ego's character, he does have a bit of a message with him. He does have a bit of a moral, that there are critics who will see potential in something, or will be just unfair, will basically see the potential in smaller things or big things. And I think it's like looking at the Bob Burgers episode Moody Foodie, as I feel when you had Patton Oswalt, who played Remy as the film critic in the episode, you can tell he tries to be this really harsh and trying to be this really unfair critic. I feel there are critics like that on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. The point about being an actual critic is about being just and fair. It's about sort of giving something a fair shot and not being too harsh on something. Something I think most harsh critics do, and something other critics like myself Jamboree, also Phantom Strider, and also Cinematic Venom in that try to avoid, as I feel I do like other films and want to see the potential in them, as well as comics. And I think at the same time, when we do get to explore Paris, we do kind of see the whole environment, we do kind of see the sort of fancy sort of restaurants, the sort of City of Lights feel that I think we eventually seen so many times. But I think to me, Brad Bird really does it well and kind of gives you this kind of world for Rami to explore. So I think, to me at least, Ratatouille has a bit of a message about critics. Like, there will be critics who are just unfair, will give something a fair shot, and there will be harsh critics who will kind of be hateful or not see the potential in something big. But I think the message is to be just and fair in your reviews. So to me, this film definitely deserves a thumbs up. Still good and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.